Hello everybody, it's Monday. On Mondays we normally do tier lists, but there wasn't a big update to the game. However, I wanted to do a little bit of this. So today I'm going to break down the meta here in Season 25, talk about what's changed, talk about what I think is going on, and then I'm going to try to back some of that up with some real data. Now, I haven't really combed through Unite API and looked at everything yet. I want to give you my take on it, and then I want to try to see what is actually happening inside the game. So come along with me, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. So let's start with the horse in the room, and that is Galarian Rapidash. I think Galarian Rapidash got some very reasonable nerfs. I still feel like it is quite powerful, but not even close to as overpowered as it was before. I would guess there will be a considerable drop in its win rate, but I don't think it will make it awful. For a long time, I've liked Smart Strike, Dazzling Gleam as the build. I don't know whether Agility or Smart Strike is better. I would wager that Agility is probably still a little better, but and part of that just because I think it'll be easier to generate your hindrance resistance back up. It is no longer unstoppable, but I do not know exactly what that's going to look like. And full disclosure, it's really hard to get into games with Galarian Rapidash because it is banned so much. It still feels like it has an insane, almost 100% ban rate in every single draft game I play. So that's just kind of like my broad take on it. We'll take a look at what the numbers say on Galarian Rapidash right now, and then kind of get a good idea of how off I was and kind of what that looks like for the game. So we're gonna pull up Unite API. I've got it right here, and we'll click on where are you? Galarian Rapidash. Okay, its win rate is 53%, so still very high. Its highest win rate build is Dazzling Gleam Agility, and it's gone down to 54%. This was a 57% win rate build. This was broken, and it's still insanely good. Interestingly enough, Gleam Smart Strike at 46%. So Smart Strike did get kind of a buff, and Fairy Wind, I didn't even bring up Fairy Wind. Fairy Wind is just an absolute disaster of a move. I'm sorry. But we have Dazzling Gleam, Smart Strike here at 46%. I do think its pick rate's insanely low, only 11%, so I can't really say. I actually really love the combination, but I'm not surprised to see Agility, Dazzling Gleam still at the top of the charts. I wonder what this is going to look like maybe in a week or so, but not surprised at all to see Galarian Rapidash with a very solid win rate. Is this the highest in the game right now? It is not. Zarina is the highest in the game. Interesting, Zarina being the highest in the game, given that Pokemon recently received the nerf. Before I hop into the next one, I just got to know, is it still Axel? It is. Triple Axel here, 54%, 55%, while Stomp, every single Zarina build over 50% right now. Zarina stonks are very, very high. All right, let's talk about the next Pokemon that recently got some changes. That is going to be Inteleon. Inteleon, I think, I really think the Inteleon buffs are considerable, especially for competitive play because of how high skill a move like Snipe Shot is, right? And I do think in a world where Galarian Rapidash is doing well, Liquidation Inteleon is absolutely crushing it. So I would not be surprised if Inteleon was doing better. It's still an attacker. Any attacker that's a little squishy is not going to be able to fully by themselves win a ton of games, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bump in the win rates. I would guess Snipe Shot is probably still the higher win rate build, but I actually think personally from playing it, I do think people are probably sleeping on Liquidation. Maybe they're not really sure of how to combo it, and there are also certain enemy compositions where you shouldn't be running it. But if they're mobile and they kind of want to dive and mess around with you, think Dodrio, Galarian Rapidash, things like that. It's pretty good into things like Mimikyu and stuff like that too, because you'll break its disguise with the first hit of Liquidation, then you continue to do damage with it, right? Unlike Snipe Shot, where it can eat an entire Snipe Shot with disguise and it takes no damage. I do think its win rate is probably decent, but not crushing it, and with Snipe Shot being maybe the best thing, followed probably by Liquidation, Acrobatics Liquidation, I should say. Let's take a look here. Inteleon, a little over 50% as a Pokemon. I think this is actually a little lower than I would have expected. I would expect it to be doing better. We have Snipe Shot at 51%. I do think it's probably the best build. And then Acrobatics Liquidation at 49. The other two builds are not good, but they also have an extremely low pick rate. Every once in a while, Fell Stinger Liquidation isn't the worst, but if you do understand the combination between Acrobatics and Liquidation, you know why you'd run this, right? It's just introduced a huge cooldown reduction to liquidation. So this does not surprise me that much when I take a look at these win rates right here. I figured Snipe Shot would be high. I do think Inteleon may be being slept on a little bit. Also, one thing that could happen is as pick rates go up, yeah, they've skyrocketed. As more people are picking a Pokemon, rather than it being banned, you have a bigger player pool actually playing it, obviously, and that is going to do some interesting things to the win rate. Okay, now I want to talk about a Pokemon that I think, I don't even know if I would say slept on, right? Because everyone's going to have their own perspective of where things are in the game right now. I think Aegislash is unbelievably good right now. I think it's amazing. I think the buffs for it were so dang good. I would not be surprised if this is like one of the better win rate Pokemon in the game, with every single wide guard build being incredible and Iron Head being terrible. I don't think I'm saying anything necessarily groundbreaking, but I thought this would be a good time to talk about the fact that a little while back Sword got buffed, and it's really great. It's really great. So let's take a look here. We're still on Inteleon. Aegislash, 51% win rate, with Sacred Sword Wide Guard being the best, and even Shadow Claw Wide Guard right there. Both of them over 50% win rate, and then of course Iron Head is, Iron Head is terrible. So this Pokemon I think is doing really, really well right now. Interestingly enough, a lot of people are playing Full Heal. Doesn't surprise me. Potion. I actually think Shedinja is extremely good on this. Like the way you can play around certain moves and then right into another wide guard, which gives you a huge shield and boosted so that you could recover HP, I think is massive. I'm not surprised to see its win rate. It had to have, oh, look at this jump. Let me see if I can get this on screen correctly. Look at this jump. Its win rate was 47%, and then it jumped up to almost 52 overall. Huge buffs, huge Aegislash buffs. Another recent buff was Ho-Oh. I think Ho-Oh needed this so bad, it's ridiculous. It's so funny, I made a tweet about this like a week or two before Ho-Oh got buffed, and I was like, this thing needs buffs so bad. I also didn't know it would be the next battle pass, so I feel like stars aligning a little bit. This needed buffs in my opinion. It got very, very solid buffs, and it has a battle pass coming, so that was a, a little reason that they shot a few buffs its way. I have no idea what it would have done to Ho-Oh's win rate, but I'm guessing Fire Spin got way better, right? So that's going to be, I think overall Ho-Oh probably went up a good notch in win rate from being like a sub 50% Pokemon to something actually reasonable. Let's take a look here as we head over to Unite API, and we take a look at Ho-Oh. 51% overall, with Fire Spin Flamethrower being at a 50, Fly Flamethrower to 52, and even Fire Spin Sky Attack at 52. So the only build that is under 50% is Fly Sky Attack, which is, nobody picks it. It's a 1% pick rate, right? I think Ho-Oh, considerable buffs. It had to be sub 50 before, right? Let's see, before its buffs, yeah, it was sub 50%. It was at 49, 49, 49, and now it's bumped it up to almost 52 with a few builds 52. I love these Ho-Oh buffs. I think they're really, really good, very much warranted, and you can even see its pick rate like getting like a bump there too, which I mean, I feel like Ho-Oh, and let me know what you think about this in the comments. This is a Pokemon to me that just like came and went. Like nobody, it was EX for a minute, then it wasn't. I really didn't see many people playing it, and all of a sudden we just weren't talking about it. So yeah, really solid changes for Ho-Oh. Next, I want to talk to you about a Pokemon that we all know and love. It's getting ready for its nerf soon, and that is Cramorant. Cramorant recently got some buffs, and you know what? I'm gonna pull up the exact buffs for Cramorant right here so I can read them to you. Its natural stats got buffed. Its attack speed. Its Surf and Hurricane got a half-second cooldown. Now, I do not think these are considerable buffs, but I will say, and I don't know, I don't know how to square this lot. I don't know what to do with this, okay? For me personally, maybe it's because I just love Cram. I actually I've been having insanely good games on it. Do I think this is a huge win rate shift for it? No. I think what we've seen here, and it's kind of the same thing we see with Trevenant, which I could talk about here in a minute, is that we've buffed the worst part of Cramorant. So I do think it would make that part better, but not an overall like massive shift here. But let's take a look. Let's see what Unite API has for us. Cram I'm guessing, yeah, Surf Hurricane still 48%. So Dive Hurricane still the best build at 50%. And in fact, when Hurricane gets a buff, Dive Hurricane does even better. This does not surprise me at all. Still sub 50% win rate. This build has to be doing better, but also at the same time, now more people are playing the worst build. So I don't even know if it helped its win rate overall too much. Let's take a look. At one point it was 45%. Now it's kind of like stabilizing your 49. So you know what? It actually did help a lot. It was at nothing, and now it's still sub 50. So incoming cram nerfs. And while we're on it, I'm just going to continue talking about Trevenant. I think Trevenant's an amazing Pokemon. I think Pain Split isn't the absolute best build for Trev, right? But I do think overall Trev is doing well, and probably having the Pain Split builds do a little better has helped Trev a little, but then more people are picking them, so it's probably hurt the win rate. I'd say it's still pretty good. Oh, wow. 50%, almost even. Woodhammer Hornleech still number 1. Curse Pain Split at 47. Interestingly enough, Woodhammer Pain Split has a really low pick rate, but it's actually not the worst thing in the game. Pain Split gives you a ton of healing, and then you do have the incredible, you know, stun and enemy kind of displacement with Woodhammer. I think there's something there, but one thing is for sure, Curse Hornleech is better than Curse Pain Split for the most part, and Curse Pain Split now has a higher pick rate, meaning this Pokemon's win rate's probably just like waffled a little bit. If I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, it was 49, now it's 50. It's like almost not changing. Sorry, let me move my big head here. I apologize. It's like 49, 49, 49, 49, 50. It was like 49.92, 50. So like nothing's changed. Basically, all we have is a slightly worse build has gotten a little bit better. I still think Trev is amazing. And the last two Pokemon I want to talk about Garchomp because it had its critical hit taken away. And I do think you're going to have some issues with it because of that, but I also don't know if that's going to affect its win rate a ton. I wouldn't be surprised if it ticks down, obviously. You are nerfing this Pokemon, but I don't think it would be a considerable change. I'd love to find out. And then my next thought is with Psyduck. Psyduck's changes are Surf getting a nerf and Psychic getting a nerf to some of their damage, but I don't think it's going to hurt Psyduck too much at all. Psyduck is still nuts in my opinion. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these changes right here, and then we'll take an overall look at the meta really quick before I let everybody go. We have Garchomp. 51% on Dragon Claw. Yeah, I mean, Dig Earthquake could have some real problems, right? Really, Dragon Claw is the only build. And at 50%, it looks like it's actually taken a bit of a hit from this. So it was at 51 and even 52 at one point here. Sorry, let me move my head. And now it is down to a little like right at 51. So it actually did hurt it. I don't think it's considerably terrible. I think Dragon Claw, Dragon Rush is still really good. It has a 90% pick rate. And then I've got to assume Duck is still, it's like one of the best, right? Yeah, Duck has got to be one of the best things. I'm sure this has hurt a bit, but Surf Psychic is still insanely good. A supporter with 53% win rate. Let's just take a look at the meta overall. Again, these are from the top 10,000 or so players in the game. The ban rates are Horse at 90%, Darkrai. I honestly don't think you need to ban Darkrai this much. My personal take is Darkrai is not as crazy as it was at all. A lot of Duck bans, Arena ban, Aegislash bans. Yeah. I think they're right. Blissey band's very good band. If we look at win rates, it goes Zarina, Rapidash, Urshifu. That's got to be Dark Bear, right? If Water Bear is crushing, I can't imagine Water Bear's crushing it. No, it's all Dark Bear. 53% with Dark Bear. That Secure is just unbelievably good. We have Blissey at 52. Two supporters up here. Tink doing pretty well. Dodrio probably got a little buff because of Rapidash, right? If you take a look at the rest of this, Greninja, I do think people are not giving Greninja enough credit. There's Sword pretty high up there. Ho-Oh doing well. We have Eldegoss doing pretty well. Mewtwo Y didn't seem to get hurt too much at all by its nerfs. No real big shifts here. Kind of a lot of middle of the pack stuff. Phalanx shifted down, but it's got to be one of the lowest pick rate, the lowest pick rate in the game. So these numbers, like when something's the lowest pick rate, you're not really learning too much information about it. This is interesting. Comfey. Now, why would Comfey have a big drop in its win rate? Does it have something to do with the most broken Pokemon in the game that often wore a Comfey collar getting a nerf? We'll never know. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If you kind of like this format where I break down the meta a little bit, or if you'd like it to be more in depth, let me know in the comments. I love you guys. I will see you all next time. If you're at EUIC, I will EUIC you there very soon. We did it.